Passive income is probably the trendiest thing going around in the personal finance world. It's the pinnacle goal of every investor to replace their salary with passive income because it gives them freedom, choices, and the ability to live a very comfortable life where they don't have to keep trading their time for money. And that is true financial freedom. But for most people, building enough passive income that you're replacing your entire salary with passive income so that you no longer have to work is a very difficult thing to do, and it's not very realistic. Only a small percentage of people manage to actually achieve this, and even if you do succeed, it often takes a very long time to get there. In my opinion, most people should look at passive income as a supplement to their primary income and as something to fall back on if they were ever to lose their job. This is because it's far more realistic to earn, say, $2,000 or $3,000 a month through passive income, and even though it might not sound like much, that amount of money can be completely life-changing. Just imagine how amazing it would be if you built a passive income which could pay for your basic expenses. This would allow you to save and invest all the money earned from your job and have extra money to spend on the things that matter most to you. This level of passive income wouldn't make you rich, but it would give you an amazing sense of peace knowing that if you lost your job, your basic expenses would be covered, and it would allow you to work less hard, build more wealth, and retire earlier. So in today's video, I'm going to explain the reasons why I have this view about passive income, which basically comes down to some very harsh realities about passive income that nobody really talks about. And I'm also going to question the nature of passive income itself and go more into some detail about whether it's really the answer for most people. So just how achievable is passive income which replaces your salary? The thing to know about passive income is that it's always downstream of owning good income producing assets. If you want to replace your salary, the reality is that you need to own a substantial portfolio of income producing assets, whether it be investment properties which give you a rental income, shares which give you dividends or which could also be sold for a capital gain to give you your income, or profits from your own business which you no longer have an active role in, or whatever the case is. A good rule of thumb to know what value of income producing assets you would need to generate your passive income target is to take your passive income target, say 100 grand for the sake of argument, and multiply that by 25. So you would need about $2.5 million in income producing assets, debt-free, to pay you 100 grand a year in passive income. If you want 200 grand a year, then you need 5 million in assets. And that doesn't include your own home. It also doesn't factor in inflation or the fact that passive income is before tax, or that the returns from your investments may fluctuate over time. So you can see that building a substantial passive income requires you to do something quite extraordinary, like owning a multi-million-dollar investment portfolio or business where you have hired others to replace you, but you have still maintained a share in the profits. So it requires a lot of hard work, good investment decisions, and patience over a long period of time. And that's why barely anyone achieves it. So if you want to replace your entire salary with passive income, you need to start as soon as possible and accumulate good income producing assets, because passive income comes to those who own assets. You cannot have passive income without owning a lot of assets. That's just how it works. And you've got to be prepared to play the long game too. Other than in exceptional circumstances, passive income is built slowly over time as your asset base incrementally increases in value. An important point that needs to be raised is that passive income is not completely passive. In my opinion, there isn't really such a thing as truly passive income. I can't really think of a form of income where your effort and involvement aren't required in at least some way. If you own a bunch of investment properties, you're dealing with maintenance requests, problems with the tenant, and decisions around rent increases and eviction. You're also doing bookkeeping as well. Most experienced property investors liken it to running a small business. And if you own a massive share portfolio, even if you're a buy and hold investor, you're probably wanting to keep informed of what's happening in the market and with the companies that your money's invested in. And if you own a business and you're receiving profits from it without being directly involved anymore, you're still probably going to want to oversee it and check in with the business, because at the end of the day, your income depends on the performance of the business. The only truly passive form of income that I can think of is to have your money in a bank account earning interest. But obviously that comes with its own drawbacks anyway, like the fact that interest earned in the bank is generally very low and it doesn't always keep pace with inflation. And because the returns are low, you would probably need millions in the bank to generate the passive income that you want. Even though dealing with these kinds of things on your investments isn't anywhere near as taxing as working in a full-time job, it's certainly not effortless. So it does require ongoing care and management. And I think passive income is sometimes over-glorified in this way because nothing is 100% passive and worry-free. And as I spoke about earlier in the video, this passive income only comes after significant initial effort and time commitment of building your asset base over many years. I think an important question to actually ask is, do you really need a passive income which replaces your salary? I personally believe it's very important to have passive income and that everyone can build some level of passive income. But at the same time, I think people get carried away with wanting a substantial passive income so badly just because everyone else, including me, talks about how great it is. There's this tendency for humans to assign great value to things just because others value it or because very few people achieve it. We think that because something is really difficult to attain, it just must be of high value. We rarely actually stop and think about whether the thing is something that we really want and whether it's good for us. So there's nothing wrong, obviously, with wanting to replace your salary with a passive income. This is a goal of mine too. But to those of you who are chasing this, please just first ask yourself what financial freedom will give you that you don't already have in your life. Ask yourself what you are truly wanting to get from it. If it would allow you to quit a job that you hate, that's great. But I'd also consider just looking at changing to a job that you enjoy more and where you can work with better people, rather than setting out on this massive mission of trying to build a substantial passive income and staying in the crappy job and delaying your happiness until you get there one day. Or if you think that passive income would allow you to work part-time so that you could, pursue a side hustle that you're passionate about, that's also great. But maybe you could just have a close look at how you're spending your time and try to carve out 30 minutes or an hour a day to be able to work on the side hustle, rather than putting a massive burden on yourself by thinking that you need to become financially free before you can give your side hustle a go. I just think that sometimes people do themselves a great disservice by telling themselves that they need to become financially free so that they can finally start living the life that they want. Passive income certainly helps a lot with this. I'm not questioning that, but it's a tough, long road to that holy grail. So I'm just trying to say that you don't need to ask for permission or get a certain level of passive income before you can start making your life the way you want it. You can do that now. Of course, there are some limitations to this because at the end of the day, if you're not financially free, you still need to work in a job to pay for your costs of living. But the point is to not just give away all your power. You can take control of your life now. And as I've said, I think it's a lot more achievable to aim for a few grand a month in passive income so that you can live with more financial peace and security. I believe that you'd find this incredibly empowering, liberating, and life-changing in its own way, even though you're not financially free. So I hope this video has given you a few things to think about around how you want to actually go about your personal finance and building a passive income for yourself. A lot of it comes down to what you actually want and what amount of time and work you're willing to put into it. So if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving the video a like. And you might also want to check out this video on your screen right now about how your net worth explodes after the first 100K. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you have a great day and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.